Hi folks, time for another book haul. I will show you a little bit of shelf footage first. So I had my camera with me when I last went to the Oxfam bookshop in Woodley. Many of the books were the same as the ones that were there a couple of weeks ago, so we'll fly through that pretty quick. But I did pick some things up, some of which I just skipped over the last time I was there. So let's go to that footage now first. I didn't pick this up last time I was here, but I think I will this time. I also didn't get this last time, which on a closer inspection is a UK first edition, although it doesn't have a dust jacket, so I think I'll have that as well this time. I think I've got enough. Maybe.
Well, I hope I can anyway. No, don't bother. Just imagine this one.
That might be worth looking at. So I kind of ignored this last time I was here, but actually I think I will get that. It looks good. I've got Forge of God. I don't know how interested I am in that. All that. I've got the Baxters. I've read the Barkers. Not really interested in picking up slightly crappy paperbacks. I've got the Banks. I've got that at home. Don't need or want those. Got all the Douglas Adams. I've got the Pennington Dunes, and I've got those two in that original 80s livery. That's interesting. It's a book club edition. Don't think I'll bother with that. Gemmell. I hear good things about David Gemmell if you're a fan of fantasy, but I'm just not on that jam at the moment. Don't know much about Alan Dean Foster's work. Maybe. I've just bought this in hardback. Koontz thinking. That's rather nice. I think I'll have that. I've got all those Wyndham books. It's horror. I've got several copies of both of those. I think I'll have a closer look at that. This was here last time and I ignored it, and I've been told it's pretty good, so I should get that. It's meant to be good, but it's not a very nice copy. I think I'll pass on that. copy of that. I've got a copy of that, although that is a nice cover. I have that. I've got, that is a nice Ace special. I think it's in the 3rd series, which I might be tempted by, except I've already got a copy of it and I'm not really collecting those. I don't see them very often in the UK though, I must say. Maybe I'll get it for scarcity value. Let's see what's down here. Don't know much about Roger McBride Allen. I missed this last time as well. Which is a Paul Macaulay, something coming through. Oh, I think that's everything. I'm going to have a closer look at the shelves. Okay, so first up is The Mirror of Infinity, which is a nice hardback. It's billed as a critics anthology of science fiction. And what's interesting about that is it's edited by Silverberg, and it says, for the confirmed science fiction addict, so I think that's you and me both, as well as for readers new to science fiction, this collection of brilliant tales and critical comments, edited by one of America's most eminent writers in the field, will be an enjoyable revelation. 13 of the most perceptive science fiction critics have selected their favourite stories to demonstrate the limitless worlds of space, mind and technology that SF has opened to its steadily increasing audience. So there's quite a range of authors, from H.G. Wells, John Campbell, Asimov, Clarke, Sheckley, Blish, Cordwainer Smith, Heinlein, Ballard, Harlan Ellison, and Georges Louis Borges. But there are a range of critics as well, which is also interesting. So there's Jack Williamson, Algis Budrys, Harry Harrison. The Asimov story in here is Nightfall, interestingly. James Blish, Robert Conquest. So there's a bunch of them in there. It's so this is from mid-70s, judging by the price. So it's a Sidgwick and Jackson hardback, 1971 actually. So the front's quite nice. The spine is very faded, and the cover is frankly a bit tatty, so it needs a bit of a repair job. But I was interested in the contents rather than its condition. And one that I also passed on the last time I was in there, which fortunately for me was still there, was this, which is rather unprepossessing. There is no dust jacket, as you can see, but this is a UK first edition of The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin, in pretty nice condition, albeit without a dust jacket. So that dates back to, published by McDonald Science Fiction in 1969, I think, maybe 1970, doesn't actually say which year. Oh no, 69, yeah. First published in Great Britain in 1969 by McDonald and Co. Yeah, so there they are, McDonald. So that's a pretty nice edition of that book. Oh, I don't know if it's worth any money particularly, but without the jacket, but still. Then change of scene, The Fall of Tartarus by Eric Brown. I've not read any of his work. I've picked up one or two in recent trips, including this one. Tartarus was the lowest region of hell, so low it was said that an anvil dropped from heaven, having taken 9 days and nights to reach Earth, would take a further 9 days and nights to reach Tartarus. So Tartarus is a planet in this story, I think. And I found Chris Beckett, Dark Eden. So allegedly the winner of the Arthur C. Clarke Award. I'm not sure if the author was or this book was, or both. Which is the first instalment of the Eden trilogy. So there are another 2, which now, inevitably, I now want to find in this same format. On the sunless planet Eden, 532 human beings shelter in the dim light and warmth of the forest's geothermal trees and simply call themselves family. Beyond the forest lie the mountains of snowy dark and a cold so bitter and a darkness so profound that no one has ever tried to cross it. But a boy called John Red Lantern rejects all of that, breaking family into pieces and bringing violence and killing where it had never existed before. Fleeing from their rage, he ventures up into the dark and discovers the truth about their history. So apparently this is stunning and a beautiful evocation of a truly alien world. So I confess I've never heard of Chris Beckett. So I don't know if I've stumbled across a gem or if it's an also-ran. I guess I have to read it to find out. There are another two, Daughter of Eden and Mother of Eden is the second and third book. And this dates back to 2012. And then I was intrigued by this, Metrophage by Richard Kadrey, which has a whiff of cyberpunk about it. William Gibson on the back, no less, says street smart, high resolution imagery, headlong action and a convincingly textured future Los Angeles. Combines the requisite edge of noir urgency with the sophisticated grasp of the contemporary pop cult. So it does sound pretty cyberpunky to me. Spinrad says, a fast-paced, hard-edged novel with plenty of nasty action, densely populated by a kaleidoscopic torrent of bizarre characters whose gut-level interactions have the feeling of real, if superheated, life. Portrays the future with the classic specificity of a Raymond Chandler, but also with a genuinely speculative passion. So it's a kind of like it sounds like a noir cyberpunk type thing. And it dates back from 1989. And that's in Victor Golanc's science fiction. So it sounds pretty cool. There are a couple of Theodore Sturgeons. There's one in a really nice corgi starship, which is in very nice condition. The spine's unbroken. It's got a couple of chips on the edges. That quite often happens just from shelf wear. And the back's in pretty good nick too. And that dates from 1971. I think it's a first paperback edition from Corgi Books. So these are short stories from... did I say Starship? It's Starshine. 6 short stories from the man. I suspect this is another, possibly another short story collection, we'll see. So Visions and Adventures. Visions and Venturers, beg your pardon, I'm getting all my words tied up today. Again by Sturgeon. Again in pretty good condition. This is a Dell science fiction, Dell SF from the US, and it's got the dyed text block, green in this case. And this dates back to 1978, and yes, this is a short story collection as well. Another book that I passed by the first time I was there, and it was I had various people pointing my omission out, and that I should go back and get it immediately. I didn't go immediately, but I did go back the following week, and it was still there. Norman Spinrad, Russian Spring, which I think is like an alternative telling of the space race. So, set against the background of world political and economic upheaval, Russian Spring is a powerful saga of ardent dreamers and star-crossed lovers, an exhilarating and thought-provoking novel. This is about a guy in the US who moves to Paris, so is the kind of European Union is kind of taking a step forward. The Soviet Union and the EU, or Common Europe as it's called, and the Soviet Union have joined to create a renaissance in space exploration. And then last of my little batch from that shop, don't go away, there's plenty more, is a Paul Macaulay, an author that I've been hoovering up the works of when I see them. I have only read one of his books, but I did enjoy it, so we'll see. So this one is Something Coming Through. So in this case, the alien Jackaroo have given humanity 15 worlds. The planets are a chance to start over, but they're also littered with ruins left by the Jackaroo's previous clients. So the Jackaroo are some kind of benevolent, seemingly anyway, alien race, kind of happy to give a leg up to developing civilizations. Miracles that could reverse the damage caused by war, climate change and rising sea levels. Nightmares that could forever alter humanity or even destroy it. Chloe Miller works in London, mapping changes caused by imported scraps of alien tech. And when she stumbles across a pair of orphan kids possessed by an ancient ghost, she must decide whether to hand them over to the authorities, who cannot be trusted. And then there's a murder on one of the worlds, something linked to the visions of Chloe's orphans and Vic Gale's murder investigations. Something is coming through. Something that will challenge the limits of the Jackaroo's benevolence. So, and then Alistair Reynolds on the back says it's really impressive. It's the freshest take on First Contact and interstellar exploration in many years. So I'm up for that, most definitely. And that is a relatively recent book, 2015. So those are what I found in the Oxfam bookshop in Woodley, my local haunt, the last time I went, which was a bit over a week ago. I'm recording this on Sunday the 3rd of December. And then I have a bunch more that I've ordered online. But before we go there, let me share this with you. So a couple of weeks ago on one of my videos, somebody commented saying that some years back they'd written a book, and would I be interested in receiving a copy and perhaps to read it and review on the channel. So I did say that I couldn't promise to do either of those things, but I did say that I would share it in a haul. So here it is. So this is by Gary Levisi, and the story is Mars Needs Books. It has the look of a kind of self-published novel, but I'm not sure. It's published by Borgo Press, a division of Wildside Press. It's a US publisher based in New England. It's signed by the author himself. So he personally sent this to me. It's very nice. So in the not so distant future, men have come to Mars to escape the oppressive Earth government. Ryan is an agent for a super secret government agency, the Department of Control, and has always been willing to do whatever his masters want of him. But on Mars, everything is different, and all that Ryan does is read books, hard-boiled, noir crime paperbacks dating from the last century. In fact, such works are read and collected by everyone on Mars, even serving as a medium exchange. Why? Is there some secret Department of Control plot involved, or has Ryan conjured up a literary fantasy in his own guilt-twisted mind? Maybe he's still confined in a prison cell back on Earth, reading a science fiction novel called Mars Needs Books. As Ryan probes deeper and deeper into the mystery, he comes to understand just one thing: he must uncover the truth. So, more than that, I don't know. But Gary, if you're watching this, thank you very much for sending me this. I appreciate it, particularly as you had to pay extortionate transatlantic postage. Much appreciated. It'll go on my shelves, and at some point I may come to read it. No promises, but much appreciated. Thank you. And then these next three I picked up in a charity shop. I couldn't tell you which one it was now. But anyway, here we go. Ben Bover, Maxwell's Demons. Oh, I know where they were. In the Oxfam in Richmond, near my office. Maxwell's Demons by Ben Bover, which I think is a short story collection. This is a US edition by Baronet. It dates back to 1978, and considering it's 45 years old, it's in really nice condition. It's very bright. There's no fading to the spine. There's no creasing. Happy days. And then I've got David Brin, Startide Rising, which people tell me is pretty good if you like David Brin. I only read one book by him, and it was kind of a half a book because it was a collaboration with Gregory Benford, about whom more to follow. But I did like that book, so I don't know how much of that was Brin and how much of it was Benford. But allegedly this is a better book than Sundiver, which I have also got but haven't read yet. So I'll be intrigued to read that. And speaking as I was of Mr. Benford, I've also got In the Ocean of the Night, which is the first book of the Galactic Centre trilogy, Galactic Centre series, of which there are 6, which is actually a first edition UK paperback by Futura from 1978. I would like to. I've got the books 3, 4, 5, and 6 in hardback, and I'd like to get books 1 and 2, including this one, in hardback. You can get them, but they're not cheap. But now I think I'm right in saying that I have all 6 books in one format or another, so I can actually read them now. And then I've recently been going on a little bit of a Adam Roberts acquisitionary tear. I picked up 1 or 2 in a charity shop, and that sort of triggered a process of looking to see what I could find. So Salt is his first book, which dates back to the early 2000s, I think, if I remember rightly. Let's see. Yeah, the year 2000, in fact. Salt is the story of a planetary colonization that slips into a tragedy of biblical proportions. The 2 communities who went to Salt were united by the dream of a new beginning, and isolated in a landscape of cruel majesty, torn apart by ancient enmities. Salt is a novel of remarkable power, intense beauty, and profound insight. In its evocation of an alien world, it compares to nothing less than Dune, which is a pretty bold claim. And it says it marks the debut of an extraordinary new writer on the science fiction scene. And on the back it says a fascinating concept deftly executed by Peter F. Hamilton. So I gather Adam Roberts likes to mix it up, so none of his books is the same or on a similar theme. They're quite different. He wants to make interesting singleton books that are not parts of series for the most part, I gather. So I've got his first 3 books were this one, Salt, and then I think it was On, and then Stone was the third one. I have all of those. On is in a paperback at the moment, but I should look out for it in a hardback. And I also picked up The Snow by Adam Roberts, which is a really beautiful cover. I really like this. Yeah, Stephen Baxter on the back saying very high concept, very vividly executed. So if Stephen Baxter's saying it's very high concept, then it's possibly quite challenging. So this was his 5th book. So the snow started falling on the 6th of September. It's quite early for snow, isn't it? Soft, noiseless flakes filling the sky like a swarm of white moths, or like static interference on your TV screen. Whichever metaphor, nature or technology you find more evocative. Snow everywhere, all through the air with that distinctive sense of hurrying that a vigorous snowfall brings with it. Everything in a rush, busy snowflakes. And simultaneously everything is hushed, calm, as quiet as cancer, as white as death. And at the beginning people were happy. But the snow doesn't stop. It falls and falls and falls until it lays 3 miles thick across the whole of the earth. 6 billion people have died and a few thousand survive. But those few thousand need help, they need support, and they need organising and governing. And so the lies begin. Lies about how the snow started, lies about who's to blame, and lies about who's left. Lies about what really lies beneath. That sounds fascinating. I really like that. And at the moment, having read the blurb, what I really like about it is the cover, which I think is pretty beautiful. Very nice. And then we've got another Adam Roberts, the This. It's actually quite hard to say. The This, which is a more recent book, I think from the 2015-ish, I would say. No, sorry, last year, 2022. So this is pretty recent. And by this stage, he's got like 20 books behind him. And I thought until recently I'd never heard of Adam Roberts, but I actually had this book in paperback, and I have read it, but I hadn't twigged the author's name. So I picked this up for a few pounds on eBay. It was like £3.50 or something like that. It's quite a recent book from a few years back, maybe, 2021. So he seems to pump out a book a year roughly. An interstellar craft is decelerating after its century-long voyage. Its destination is blah blah, a now empty planet dominated by one gigantic megastructure, a conical mountain of such height that its summit is high above the atmosphere. The ship's crew of 5 hope to discover how the long-departed builders made such a colossal thing, and why. Is it a space elevator, a temple, a work of art, or a threat? And if I remember rightly, there's another timeline back on Earth, and I don't recall how they mesh, or even if they do. I do recall enjoying it, so I should probably reread that. So that's a few Adam Roberts books. I got to add to my little growing collection of these 80s Methuen Simak books, Immigrant and Other Stories, which is a short story collection. It is a little bit beaten up on the spine. Not terrible, but not the way that I would like it. So that's everything for this video. I've got a bunch more on my shelves which I'll go through separately. I'm actually it's a slightly acute shelf shortage problem which I'm going to have to resolve at some point. As always, thank you for watching, and until next time, goodbye for now.